Hello everyone, it's me, and for this video is about semiotics. So I'm gonna be explaining what semiotics is and the context of what it is and how it comes to play with media and film and TV and stuff. And I'll be giving examples as well, but not proper examples, like examples of some posters, to put it. That's how I'll put it. In that uses semiotics and how it could be displayed. And I'll be saying how it's used today in terms of, because today is quite popular in studies like psychology, sociology, and all that. So I'll be talking about that, how it's used as well today. So if you like any of my videos, or please subscribe now to get all the latest. So what is semiotics? So it's about the meaning of science in terms of how it's created and communicated. So basically, it's about it's about how science can be interpreted and symbols can be interpreted through meaning, whether they are through the words, through linguistically and visually create meaning to represent that thing. So a word, like stop sign, you associate the words danger and health is, you see an image of an apple, and peace, which you see the dove. So Swiss linguist Juan Ferdinand de Saussure called it the study of science in our society, because everywhere we have all signs. Everything represents something, basically, in this world, whether it's the color, whether it's a color or a symbol or an icon of something. Signs are all over the place, whether it's a word that's associated with something. So even the origin of the words came from the 17th century, when English philosopher John Locke studied the study of semiotics came about. But the real origin, or when it really came about, was in the 18th to the 19th century, when Saussure and American philosophers Charles Sanders Peirce have written independent works on it. So they both have different ideas in terms of what semiotics is and how it's interpreted. So I'll be getting to that as well in the video. So it's a way for us to see the world around us, and it allows us to understand the culture and language of how it impacts us, even if we see it, whether we see it or we don't see it, because clearly, as I just said before, it's everywhere basically. It doesn't matter whether you see it or not. So, as I stated, the two men who basically brought the study forward for us to learn and to get fascinated with, they've both came up with different ideas of it. So the signifier and the signified are completely different things. Are completely different things, interpreting the same thing basically. So a signifier is basically an image or connotation of something, and a denotation is basically what you refer it to. A word and the image comes together. So it signifies what the word, when you hear that word of some, and then it signifies what the image comes up as. But I'll get into that more detail. So there's one by there's Charles Sanders Peirce at the bottom where he talks about icons, symbols, and indexes, which I'll get into more as well. And I've got other images, you see different signs, what they mean. The colours even stand out, so the colours have meaning as well. And the letters, the symbols, whether we see letters or we don't see letters. Even without words, you can still understand, come up with your own interpretation of what it is and what it really means. So there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on what you're trying to say or how you see things. So Charles Sanders Peirce's work is based on logic and pragmatism. So his idea, so he kind of categorizes them into three major types. So an icon, which is a which resembles its referent. An index, which is associated with its reference. And the symbol is this how it relates to its referent only by convention. So Peirce also demonstrated that a sign can never have a definite meaning, for the meaning must continuously be qualified. So basically, he's saying that there's no one way to look at it. It's just how we see it. It's different ways of seeing things. It's not a single way that you could interpret or simplify a meaning. Not simplify, but to interpret the meaning of stuff, things around us. So I say, like, the color blue is associated with peace, but someone else could say it's something completely different from what I said. Peace and tranquility. And someone else could say something completely different to what I am saying. So that's basically what he's trying to say. And these are how. So the signifier is basically a representation. And the object is the referent and the interpret, which is the sign, the signified. So he's saying there's three different ways of it goes around basically. It's like a triangle. So an icon is basically the item itself. So the item on is a phone. And an iPhone. The index is basically what's inside it or what's associated what's the image you see when you look at a phone, like when you look inside a phone. And the symbol is basically how you recognize a company. So Apple's recognized with this symbol of an apple, a bit of apple. So we see, so I say that the icon for the woman and man is basically the two, when you say male and female, and the index is what you see was associated with male and female. So you see a man, an actual man and a woman, and the symbols of how to represent a man and a woman, male and female. And the icon is the school, the brick building of a school. The index are the school uniforms and ties. And the symbol is the school logo. So the school is associated with its crest. And the uniforms is the colours and what the students wear as their uniform. And their ties, depending on what year you're in. But some schools are completely different. So I'm basically saying the icon is basically what you see. It's what you, when you hear a word, it's the signifier. And the index is the signified. And the referent is the symbol. So Ferdinand de Saussure, he treated language as a science system. So his work in linguistics supplied the concepts and methods that semioticians applied to science systems other than language. So his one is mostly used in most contexts today because we associate with two things. So there are two components to it. So the first is to signify. So language in which is a set of speech sounds or marks on the page. So basically it's what you hear. When you hear that word, like for example I said from that image, basically rose, when you hear the word rose, and the signifies is what you see, or the concept or idea behind the sign. So what you see, what's the image that pops into your head when you hear that word rose? So there's only basically two ways to go about it, compared to Pierce's one, mostly which is in a triangle. So his one's basically about the words, its association, the image, and how it's represented or how it could be recognized. Saussure also distinguished parole or actual individual utterances from language, lang- language, the underlying system of conventions that make such utterances understandable. It is this underlying language that most interests semioticians, which is why it's being used today, as I've been saying. So basically, we hear the word dog in this image. So dog is the signifying word. The signifier. The signified is the image of the dog, basically. So we get a sign of a dog. So it's kind of similar here in what it represents. So we see this celebrity state perfume post of a perfume ad. Basically, we see the image of celebrity status, which represents when you hear the word celebrity, what do you see? And then there's the signified, which is she's signified as a celebrity. Leighton Meester, she's signified as a celebrity, and the dress she's wearing is a signifier, and what it represents is the signified. It's basically beauty and wealth. And the Romeo Prince concept is the index. Basically, the index is when what I said before about it's basically what you see, basically. So, and we have another image here of an ad, but it's a fragrance from Hugo Boss, and we have a celebrity status here as well, and image of Theo the James as to signify. And the suit represents power, wealth, success, and we see an adoring fan of a woman, image of a woman. So the use of semiotics in other areas. So as I've been mentioning, I mentioned this in the beginning when they use it for analyzing the way humans behave. So anthropology and psychology, I think they're both studies of human behavior and human habits, people's habits and mindsets and stuff. And the idea of it being interpreted to our culture and society, as well as moving on to assisting in analysing cultural products like film, TV programs, adverts, critical theory, texts, they all are part of it. That's how things can be seen. And finally, we get methodology in researching consumer behavior and brand communications and marketing and promoting a brand and trying to sell that product to people. So we have the color emotional wheel, which is here, which I have the image up there actually. So, like, they say different colors represent different things. So, like I said previously, the color blue represents peace and tranquility, which is basically what goes back to Pierce's theory, saying there's no right or wrong answer, just how you see things and what you think of something. When you hear a color and stuff, there's no right or wrong answer about it. So, green represents peace. So, I thought blue represents peace, but they said green represents it. So, there's different ways, there's no right or wrong answer. And there's optimism, which is the color yellow, and excitement, which is red. So we have different interpretations of different things. And down here, we see that people keep up with trends. So what does it represent if people are using the certain trends as well? And how we analyze people's mindsets when it comes to going to liking a certain type of culture or brand. In portfolio management, so it helps communicate people's cultural differences and how they are perceived by others. Brand positioning strategies. Sorry, can't get my words right today. Sorry about that video. It's not the best video I made. So it can help people, a brand, focus on its target audience and focus on who and what they are targeting and how they're going to target the people and what they're going to do about it. Like, are they going to set up shops or online or whatever? And design, it's how you target an audience anyway, because you're trying to draw people in and you want people to like your products and stuff. So Here are the links. It's not much here, but they are very useful, to be honest with you. So I hope you enjoy watching this video. So please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you want to get more videos like this. And don't forget and remember to click on the bell notification to get more updates. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.